Okay, today we are talking with the Sharlrita DeLoatch. We're getting ready to go live on Instagram. We'll talk a little bit about the rich method for living, the power in your story, and why it's important to get honest. Before this behind the scenes stuff show up in your life. And so I'm getting ready to go live. I'm going to mute her for a moment. But Sharlrita, as you're behind the scenes, we all for all the facial expressions, all the snaps, all the claps, because we can't hear you right this moment, which is fine. Once we get ready to go live on Instagram, or once we bring you on Instagram, what I typically do is I turn my volume down where I can't hear from my microphone, from my Zoom, but I can still hear from one of them. So that's kind of what we'll do there. I have headphones in both. That way, let me make sure I'm on the right Instagram. Yep, that way we don't run into a sound issue. All right, it's a rich Black woman conversation. Grown women only. Minutes ago, all right, hold on, there's a okay, cool. That is something. Here we are. Here we are. Cool. Okay, we are live. We're live. We're going to give those who are on Instagram a little bit of opportunity to come in and get set up. I am just, we've been doing this spring series for a little bit, and the level of insight that I have gotten from Black women, the level of conversation that we have had, the level of rich Black woman behavior that has shifted since we started this series is mind-blowing to me. For those of you who don't know me, if you are new to me, I have had some massive transitions over the past almost 7 years. October will be 7 years since I first launched and I started speaking to Black Christian women about money. And that has evolved over time to business and sales and lifestyle and marriage and motherhood and all the things. And what I've learned is that over the years, regardless of who you are, regardless of what type of business you do, regardless of what your goals are, where you're trying to get to, everybody has to have some tough skin. We all got to have some thick skin. We all got to be tough. You want to be a boss, you better get the bullying. And I don't mean bullying other people, but I mean bullying the obstacles that come to stop you. And so if you are new to me, you don't know me very well. Hey now, my name is Felicia Kelly. I run a company called Rich Black Brand. I've also built some success through my company, Cyrus & Co. But we're doing some different things in this season. And I spend my time now focused less on my titles, less on what I've accomplished, and more on who I am. And what I mean by that is there comes a time where you stop moving and focused on your skill. You stop moving based on your education and stop moving based on your expertise, and you start moving based on your experience. And what I know is that over the last 9 years of marriage and 11 years with my husband, over the past 7 years, a little over 7, almost 8 years as a mom, as a 7 years in business, as a woman, 35 years as myself, I have learned that if you do not prioritize your life, you're going to flounder and fumble. If you make business your number one, you're going to flounder and fumble. And so in a little while, we're going to bring on someone who's near and dear to me, Sharlrita DeLoatch, who has seen my entire journey from the beginning, who's been on her own rich Black woman journey, who's been transparent about her rich Black woman journey. But before we get into that, I'm going to have y'all tag y'all friends. Go ahead and tag your big boss friends, especially if your friend is a Black woman, especially if she's a Black woman entrepreneur, especially if she's a Black woman entrepreneur with purpose, especially if she's a Black woman who has a call on her life, who's chosen for greatness. Y'all need to tag your friends. Now, as y'all come in, you also need to tie your edges down. You see, I wore my baseball cap, so my edges are safe for whatever the Lord might jump in and say during this live stream. You might want to take your wig off, set it on the stand. That way, you ain't shocked by the level of edge snatching that could happen today. I've talked a lot about the rich method for living, but I want to dive into a part of the rich method for living today that we gotta talk about. And before I get into that, I need to tell y'all what happened to me this past weekend. So some of you may know that this past weekend, I hosted my first event in over a year in Atlanta. It was Rich Black RBW Live Atlanta. And I initially started not to host the event. I said, well, Fee, this event is a lot different than what you've done in the past. You're teaching a new method that you have never taught. You're talking to a new audience that you've never talked to. And although you encourage and empower other women to do the same thing, you got a few nerves to do it for yourself. You got a little lack of confidence. You got a little shame. You got a little embarrassment from things that's happened over the years. But what I realize is that I don't like working with people who ain't never made no mistakes. Perfect people don't do well around me. Perfect people who can't say, oh, sis, I understand, or oh, sis, I've been there. People who ain't never been through nothing don't do well around me. And that's because it gets a little too real over here. And I completely understand that for years, some of you have known me to teach you how to craft your 5-figure offer and launch and all of that. And we can still do that. Then we got that, okay? But what I realized then is that if you do not take inventory of the woman, you're going to be out here floundering. If you don't stand up today and say, you know what, I'm a rich Black woman and I'm going to operate like it, you're going to be out here floundering. Every little thing that frustrates you is going to knock you down. Every little thing that attacks your business is going to find some success. Every little thing that gets in your face around marriage, money, and motherhood is going to be correct. Yeah, oh yeah, you a terrible wife. Oh yeah, you terrible with money. Oh yeah, you a terrible mom. If you don't get hold of who you are immediately, those things are going to win. And so I'm sure nobody's been there. If you haven't been there, it's totally okay. Thank y'all so much for the kind words. I see y'all. Hey now, I see you, Chelsea. I see you, Tashana. Thank y'all so much. It's an honor to do what I do. And I just want y'all to know that I'm coming homecoming. I have always been completely myself on this journey. And the older you get, the more established you get, the more business you do, you realize that the more of yourself you have to be. I'm not talking about the type of authenticity that to show you on the internet, on the sales pages, and on the couch with the coffee cup. I'm talking about the authenticity that when you are going through absolute hell and God is like, you know what, go live. And you're like, but I feel like trash. And you do it anyway. And then you realize months and months later that it was for you and not the audience. Some of y'all are waiting on your audience to start listening, and who really needs to hear you speak is yourself. Some of you are waiting on your audience to respond, on them to click buy. But really the thing is, you need to put the offer out there just to prove to yourself that you can put an offer out there. Some of you need to go and apologize to your husband or your kids, not really for them, but just so you can actually do it and know that nobody's going to die because you were wrong. Can we take that in for a moment? Can we just deep breath at one time? Those of you who are in Atlanta, y'all know we take deep breaths like timeouts. Some of you need to take the action just to prove to yourself that you can do it. You waiting on this circle to accept you. You waiting to get in this program. You waiting on somebody to share your stuff. Some of y'all waiting to get on Rich Black Woman TV when you need to be your own show. You need to have your own stage. You need to put yourself on. And can't nobody out here put me on. You want to know why? Because what is for me, and I'm not going to mess it up. And if nobody's calling, nobody's booking, nobody's saying, Fee, can I? Fee gonna go. You have got to stop waiting. You've got to stop waiting. The rich method for living focuses on 4 things: relationships. I taught y'all that. Investing in impact. And C is cultivate. We're going to talk about in a second. 4 is harvest. I want you to be very, very, very clear. The only thing you can harvest is what you've cultivated thus far. My mom has a slogan that went pretty viral a while back, about a year and a half ago. She said, you're qualified, get certified. If you were at bank statement, the last bank statement weekend, you understand what that means. You qualified, get certified. You say you a wife, what your husband think? Oh, see, y'all went straight to degrees and stuff, right? Y'all went straight to degrees and certifications. Y'all went straight to accolades and accomplishments and trophies and plaques. Y'all went straight there because we taught that. So when I say you rich already, I want to know, how do you move, woman? Where are you cultivating, right? Shout out to Candace Little. She was on with us last week. She went after our coaching. I said, listen, you got to go take 3 days. The first thing you got to do is take 3 days for you. No kids, no husband, no friends, no employees, no laptop, no nothing. You go. And she was like, I don't know, Fee, but all right, I'm going to do it. She calls me back after she does it, glowing, light as a feather. And she's like, oh, and my husband paid for it too. He paid for everything. Sent me to the Ritz for 3-4 days and took it, which means he wanted you to go. Let me speak to the wives for a minute. Your husband wants you at peace, Black woman. Your husband wants you at peace, Black woman. Your husband wants you to ask him for help. We talk about cultivation. You want to be a wife, you better cultivate your marriage. Everybody out here that's becoming a boss is not getting divorced. Shout out to the women who were married to the wrong men and figured it out. Shout out to the women whose husbands had abandoned the marriage and had given grounds for divorce and y'all didn't know and y'all figured it out and God has blessed y'all. Clapping it up for them sisters because there's a real man out there waiting. Now, let me talk to those of you that are married to the right person who's screwing it up. I was there. Yeah, I'm just telling what I did, y'all. I know none of y'all would do this. It's my business. I see Sharlrita's face in the back. I wish y'all could see Sharlrita's face. I wish y'all could see her face. Those of you who are not going to be get the replay. If you want to be cultivated, if you want to be supported, if you want to feel loved, if you want to be treated like all those things you got listed, all those things you stroll past and compare yourself to, you have to act like it. You got to move like a person that's worthy. Some of y'all got husbands, but ain't wives. You take deep breaths like time out. Let's sit with it. When we talk about cultivation, we have to ask ourselves, what do we want out of what we have? I'm going to run that back. What do we want out of what we have? Because a lot of y'all are trying to do like my daughter was doing earlier. Belle came in here trying to get some trail mix. I picked up her Ziploc bag with her trail mix she started in yesterday, and she's like, I don't like that one. You mean you don't like the same one you've been eating the past month? You've been eating this kind every day for a month. See, but you don't like that one because that new one is over there. You see a new kind in that corner. You see a new shiny object. And so now you want the new thing because you're terrible at completing what you started. See, you want to start something, you love new, you love new, you love new. Until God say, go do something new, and now we scared. I want y'all to walk away with this before we bring Sharlrita up and continue this conversation. What I shared to the women, the rich Black women of Atlanta this past weekend, was that a lot of the fear you have, a lot of the frustration, a lot of I feel afraid, I can't move, I'm stuck. That's not fear you're feeling. It's newness. We get so used to being comfortable that when newness pulls up, we allow the enemy to turn it and make us see it as fear. Now we're afraid. But really what you're feeling is newness. You know what it's like when you do something new and you don't know all the answers? You know what it's like when you do something new and you got to think for a second? You know what it's like when you do something new and you got to ponder and say, hold on, let me go back to the drawing board because that's not going to work? You know what newness is like to put out an offer that nobody buy? And instead of you saying something wrong with me, you say something wrong with the presentation. And so you restructure the offer. You're like, oh, now they buying. What was it? Copy. What was it? Nurturing. What was it? You didn't go live enough. What was it? You didn't talk to enough people. What was it? You still talking to the old people that you outgrew and it's time to cancel your clients and level up your market. That's the problem. Y'all don't know what newness feel like because you done got comfortable. And so when newness walk in, you got opportunities pulling up, things you ain't never seen before. Somebody asks you to do something you ain't never offered, and you're like, I don't do that. Do you? See, because people, when they come to me and say, P, can you be my life coach? I was like, huh? My life is not together. That's why they want me to be their life coach. Why? Because can't nothing break me. Don't nothing break me. I have been transparent this entire 7 years. I've been transparent the entire 7 years. I let y'all know when it's up. I let y'all know when it's stuck. I let you know when it's falling apart, and I ain't gonna stop that. Why? Because when you look at me, you know it's real. When you look at me, you like, quit for what? When you look at me, you like, dang, they done tried to kill Fee physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. She might be chosen for something. She might be a good example of how to move. She might be a good example of how to cultivate. I love my marriage, so I spend time working it. I spend time focused on it. I spend time thinking about it. The problem is we get so accustomed to what we know that we don't like to think because we're so busy doing. See, you ain't had to think in a long time. Sharlrita ain't got to think about writing no book. She ain't got to think about the publishing process. She ain't got to think about none of that. But when the Lord called her higher and want her to tell her story on a new level, now we got to sit back. Oh. And let me help free y'all right quick. The problem is a lot of you are so focused on your origin story that you don't know how to tell your journey story. So you talk about why you started and how you started and what they did to you and how you got here and what upset you and what your mama did and what your daddy did and the ex-husband and all the people and the ex-friends and how they done. And we do need to talk about that. However, we need to move on to how we made it through that. How you still kicking. How you got back to, how you didn't let it stop from. How is your journey going? I don't want to know what happened to you, sis. We got it. It happened to all of us. We all got a story, but baby, I'm 35. I want to talk about what happened the last 5 years, not what happened the last 30. And so when we shift to telling our journey story and not the origin story, that's how you know you've been healing. That's how you know you ain't got no vengeance in your heart. See, because I've reached a point where I can pray for the people that did me bad just last year. We got to grow up. We got to heal faster. We got to move faster. We got to trust God quicker. Y'all don't see the urgency. Y'all don't feel the urgency. Y'all don't feel the urgency heating up. Y'all don't feel it. Call it global warming. That's cool. And so here are 3 things we got to get rid of. Lack of confidence. Show up how you is, sis. I could have said R. Had profound grades in English all the way through the parts of colleges that I finished. I could have said R, but you got to pull up how you is, sis. Some days they get what they getting, but you hear. And you only pouring from the parts of your cup that can be poured from. I'm not going to scrape up no oil to pour. I'm not going to dig through and scrape the bowl. You know how you bake, those of you who bake, we bake with our kids, they want to scrape the bowl. And that's wonderful for a child. But you look a little crazier doing it as an adult. I still do it. But I'm not going to scrape up no oil. I'm keeping what's meant for me, for me. I'm keeping what's meant for me, for me. So we got to get rid of lack of confidence. We got to get rid of shame, and we got to get rid of embarrassment. We got to get rid of it. Embarrassed for what? Embarrassed that you survived it? Embarrassed that you still thriving? Ashamed of what you went through that ain't got no hold on you no more? I will 8 Mile you. 8 Mile. Rabbit went to do his verse. What's his name? Papa Doc tried to come and scare the man, try to come and talk down on the man. Y'all know what battle rap is. I'm supposed to drag you through the mud. And so instead, Rabbit came up, shout out to Eminem. Rabbit came up and said, okay, I'm a battle rap every single thing that's wrong with me. I'm going to tell you every single thing that's wrong with me. Yes, I'm poor. Yes, I'm in a trailer park. But guess what? You can't tell nobody because I just did it. And so when we talk about telling your story, you have got to tell it from a place of power. You have got to tell your story from the survivor's perspective and the thriver's perspective. You cannot tell your story from the perspective of the victim. We talked about this in Atlanta with the Rich Black Women of Atlanta last weekend. And so when you cultivate your marriage, when you cultivate your relationships with your children, when you cultivate your friendships, when you cultivate in your business, you'll do 3 things. You're going to educate yourself a little bit more. Maybe because I want to be a better wife, I want to hang around some wives that's spoiled. Maybe if I want a man like Patrick treat feet, maybe I should zone in a little bit more on how feet operate. Right? Then you got to train. You got to practice these things that are uncomfortable. That's how it goes. It's not going to feel right at first. It's not going to do right at first. It ain't going to look right at first. That's what training is for. And once you get it figured, now we got to steward. So you learn it, you do it, and you master it and steward it. And that is where rich black woman behavior really changes how you operate. So I'm going to bring on a rich black woman that has been on her journey for a minute, who has done well with her journey, who's thrived in her journey. We've watched each other grow immensely over the past several years. So we're going to ask Sharlrita to come on the Instagram Live. And I'm actually going to unmute her on the behind the scenes Zoom. So that way we make sure we don't miss anything. And I'm going to swap out my headphones here because I need to hear her over here. Just in case. I might could have kept in, but we're going to see. And y'all, please ask y'all questions. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
I see the feedback in the comments. I mean, y'all business.
Okay. Can you see me? We go. There we go. I send a request.
There she go. It should be on in a second.
Here we go.
Let's see. Instagram taking its time. Let's see. Accept. Y'all don't go nowhere. Y'all know technology like to take its time. I accepted it. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time. See, now I gotta get churchy. The devil a whole liar in here. You can't hear me. That's interesting.
No.
Sharlrita, maybe go out of the live and come back in.
Now you went out. Oh,
This must be good because this never happens. This never happens to me. Y'all can't hear me. That's off.
Let me go out and come back in.
I'm gonna put my headphones back like they were. Swap out to these.
Okay, I'm back.
Just in case.
All right, request. Send a request.
Yeah, because I can hear you fine on the behind the scenes. Okay, there's the request. And I'm not gonna touch nothing.
Okay. I'm about to come up. There I go.
There she goes.
There we go. Can you hear me?
There we go. Somehow I was muted.
Okay.
Y'all should be able to hear me and see me okay now. Y'all check the tech for us. Let us get a tech check.
Let us know.
Because I can hear you great here.
Okay.
This, let's see if I'm getting any feedback.
They
We
say I can hear
good.
now.
All right,
We good.
We good. What?
Okay.
The sound is back. Wonderful,
Yep.
wonderful.
Yes.
So if you want to be able to see the replays, then you simply subscribe to Rich Black Woman TV. We have not officially announced it, but we are going to be unarchiving all of our Rich Black Woman TV lives and interviews over the past several years. We have some fantastic interviews that we've done over the past almost 3 years. And so these will be immediately available starting today to those who are subscribed. Sharlrita was the first subscriber. She's like, I don't care what you put up there. Click immediately. Here's all these. You gonna get these $10 today.
Right.
You gonna get them today. Thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna be a little bit back and forth on the camera here, but thank you so much for taking the time. I know we talk quite a bit privately.
Yes.
But we definitely got to have this conversation out in the open. And I saw you even behind the scenes writing some stuff down.
Yes, girl.
For those who don't know you, I know you, and I don't want to take that for granted. For those who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, I am Sharlrita DeLoatch. First and foremost, that's who I am. I come with a lot of titles and things like that, but you must know, if you've never heard me, first of all, I'm a married woman. That's my first ministry, my children. I'm a mom. I am a CEO. I own a book publishing company and have been for quite some time. And that's about it. Mom, wife, what else? No, I'm not a grandmother. I was going to say grandmother. Please,
you prophesy?
No, grandma. No, but no, grandma. No. I'm too young for that.
Yes.
But if that's right there. That's my priority. If you follow me on any social media platform, that's what you're going to see me talk about a lot.
Yeah, I love it. When I started talking about Rich Black Woman a few years ago, Sharlrita was one of the first people to be like, "What you talking about, Fee?" And just to watch her growth over the years. Just full transparency for those who don't know us, whether individually or together. Sharlrita's mother actually did my wedding. Our wedding, our reception, our first baby shower, like ingrained in her family. And then I meet Sharlrita online, and then I see my wedding designer on her page. And she's like, "My mom did your wedding. Patrick's my cousin." And I was like, "What?" So we one of the things that I honor, Sharlrita never tries to take advantage of that relationship. Not one time has she ever approached me in any type of way other than respectful as another business owner, woman, wife, mom. And a lot of times we don't talk about how we talk about all the things that are done and how people are down bad, but we don't talk about how people really honor. And so I just want to tell you publicly, I know I've said this privately, thank you for always having that respect and never trying to supersede the relationship. Yes. But I also want to talk about, well, I don't know what you was writing down. Girl, you got over there, got the
girl. No, I feel like every time you go live, it's always you say something. And for me, it was again about being a married woman and really taking that place as a married woman and say, okay, this is your responsibility. This is your calling. You need to cultivate this before you try to cultivate relationships with clients and other people. But that always hits home for me. Like that always hits home for me.
I think that's so good. And it's funny because we have had this massive push to talk about our marriage more. We've had people asking us, even as recently as this past weekend, to discuss our marriage and to coach on marriage. And we were like, we don't know how to do that. All we tell you what we do. All I can tell you is that when I get finished at 2:00, I'm going to get in here and prep to start cooking for later on after I take my rest and relax for an hour and a half. Like, that's what I do. What was that shift like for you? Let's go back to how you used to do it. Because I think when we talk about how we move as wives and how we had to make adjustments as wives to prioritize ourselves and our marriages over our business, what was it like for you prior to having that aha and having that realization? How did you move beforehand?
Beforehand, I was just the businesswoman. Like, that was it. Some people knew I was married, but it wasn't like I was really moving like a married woman. And in some instances, especially with my business, it was like, forget what my husband's talking about. Let me go over here and do what my coach said to do. And sometimes the coach is basically really regurgitating, or they are saying the same things that my husband been saying for years. So
what'd you say? Your coach is saying the same thing your husband been saying for years? Okay, keep talking. I'll make sure I heard you good. Keep talking.
For years. So it was like, I had to realize that I had my coach at home. Like he was already there, and it was because the internet makes you feel like, well, you know, you need to have this coach, this well-known coach. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. And it was like before his voice wasn't heard through his wife, through the business that he really supports anyway. So being real, when Sharlrita didn't make any money in the back end, he was the one covering the bills that needed to be paid anyway to run the business. And it was like, okay, I'll take your money, but I'm not going to take anything that you have to say about the business. So yeah. So I had to really shift how I was doing business and how I was respecting my husband as the voice of the family.
Oh, we gotta go all the way there. She said, so I'll take your money, but I won't take no advice from you or listen to what you gotta say. See, because that's the truth. Because truth be told, my husband was paying for my coaches.
Right.
Because the first 3, I ain't make no money. And I was like, I did what y'all, maybe it was me. Maybe I skipped it. Maybe. Let me tell you something. Patrick, when I met him, okay, and this for the grown women, women, like we can't, ain't no cheering conversation over here, okay? Right. If you are married, have a desire to be married, you want to understand marriage, baby, we got to keep it a buck. When I met Patrick, I was rebuilding my life, and I had started working at the dealership where he worked. I already wasn't trying to hear nothing he was saying. Some of y'all know the story. I wasn't here. Why is he talking to me? I'm tuned in. I'm focused on me right now. I'm tapped in. I'm zoned in. I don't want to talk to no man. Right? Full transparency. I dated women most of my life. So up until getting with Patrick, I had only dated like 2 guys. And I was 24. Okay. Shout out to that one pastor that told me he was going to expose me years ago. I told you I was going to expose myself. I was just going to tell it the way God told it. Anyway, I didn't really understand relationship roles or what to expect from him. And the guy that I was with prior to 3 years, he was trash. I mean, he worked at Sonic, disrespectful, always cheating. And so when I got with Patrick, I was like,
it's different. It's different.
Weird. He's like, you moving into your place? I'm like, yeah. He said, didn't you say you could cook? He said, well, I'm gonna come by. You gonna cook? I said, well, hold on. I don't have anything. I got the place when I ain't had nothing to put in it. That's gonna help somebody. I got the place when I ain't had nothing to put in it. All I had was my bed from high school. My parents said, here, take this, start somewhere. I ain't have nothing. Patrick said, oh, you got pots, right? I said, no, my man's. I said, I ain't got nothing. Nothing. He was like, all right, bad. We gotta go to Walmart when we get out. We hadn't upgraded the Target yet. Bought me a set of pots. Spent $40-something. I'll never forget it. I was like, this dude different. Different. And so fast forward to being married and being in business, spending that first 2 years not letting him into my business. That's why it took me so long to make money. That's why it took me so long to build confidence. Can we talk about, because it could be me, the level of confidence that your husband provides for you? Because we always talk about, oh, I gotta learn this, I gotta learn. He was like, nah, you don't. You don't talk about what that's like for you, and get into how your husband creates new levels of confidence for you.
Absolutely, the 100% truth. When even before we got to the level we are in our marriage, we're going on 15 years married. So we understand, the hard times, going through the money issues and all that stuff. But even when I started building they can't hear me anymore.
Sound check. Let us get a tech check.
Okay.
Y'all check the tech for us.
How can y'all still hear me?
Sharlrita's audio is
out of love. Okay, let me take this off here. Okay. All right. How about now?
Now? Yes.
Yes. Now? Okay. I had to take the earphones off. Okay. So, so before I even got into publishing, started my business and things like that, that's why we have a similar story when it comes to our husband, because he was like, look, you good at this, you know how to do this, you need to start charging for this, you need to go ahead and put yourself out there, because the truth be told, our husbands are they are the most biggest ego pushers. They gonna be like, you the bomb, you go out there and do it, you go out there. And I do have a level of confidence when my husband is bagging me, not just financially, but when he's bagging me spiritually, when he's bagging me in my mind, and he's telling me, listen, you can do whatever it is you want to do, and I'm going to support you 100%. That's love. That's why I can show up the way that I do, because regardless, listen, side note, if I wanted to, I'll be a stay-at-home wife, but I know that this is my purpose. But it is such a level of confidence. I don't know what it feels like to have an unsupportive husband, to be honest. Now, I do know what it feels like to have a husband that shuts off because you put the business before him, or put the business before his feelings, when you going to the coach and they telling you the same thing he done told you, and you trying to validate yourself. So I know what that feels like. So the women that have to go through that's something I can't advise you on that, on what to do, but I can say that it will take you to 100. I can do whatever it is I want to do. Long as that man's bagging me, long as Anthony DeLoatch say, we doing this, that's what we gonna do, that's what we gonna do.
Yeah, you know what? The problem is we don't see the success in submission, because we've been taught it wrong.
Right.
We've been taught submission wrong. We've been taught submission is a head down, get in there, cook and clean, and be a slave. And the problem is a lot of the Black church, and I'm going there, has been taught and built through the eyes of the oppressor. And so when you put a person who's oppressed in charge, they operate like the oppressor, because they don't know what freedom is. And so all they do is regurgitate what they've been taught by oppression. And so they can't properly teach the success and submission. I'm very submitted to my husband. You want to know what submission is? Submission is not putting yourself through the stress of seeking God by yourself for 6 weeks when you could have asked your husband and he'd have told you 5 minutes ago?
Exactly.
There is a level of wisdom. I want y'all to get me good. There is a level of wisdom that men who are assigned to chosen women operate in by default.
It's just in them. Like,
if there's a, when you are a chosen woman, I'm not talking to y'all that God give options. You know, sometimes you can do what God say, sometimes you can't, and he ain't gonna too much do you nothing. Those of you with a whole lot of free will, with them real long leashes, this ain't for y'all. But for those of us who are chosen women, who have a very, very clear purpose of operation, there is not a time that God is going to allow me to lack clarity and he ain't gave my husband nothing to give me. That's just not going to happen. It has not happened in 11 years. This was going on before I married him. But when I married him, it was like God put the icing on the cake. He's like, all right, now you have to move. See, before you get married, let me help y'all who shack. See, y'all going to talk about shacking and all that. God, but anyway, those of you who believe marriage is a piece of paper, those of you who believe that you can just get with a person and operate like two people together, you're going to operate like two people together because there's something about the commitment of marriage that makes you do this.
It makes you do it.
And you got to educate yourself on who they are and who you are. You got to train. That's why that second year is hell. That second year tried to kill y'all, didn't it? I'm already knowing. That's why the second year is hell. So that while you educate yourself on them, now you can train together. Now you can gel together. Y'all think this coming together is just now you together? No. When you sign that paper and when you come together, that is an agreement. That is a covenant. And you come into agreement on that covenant, and then you say, well, now that I know, let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. Let's train. Let's steward together. How you steward your partner's pain. How you steward your partner's feelings. How you steward their mindset when they down. Y'all think I posted that video of Patrick and his parents in the airport for something to post? I got plenty of content. I got content from 4 years ago that's still relevant today. I did that because I was aware that my husband was at a place lower than where I could pick him up from. So I had to get some help. There's no way to know that without cultivating your marriage and cultivating yourself. So, Sharlrita, can you talk about the changes you've seen in yourself? Because I can even see the way that you even speak is different over the past year. Like the way that you talk, the way you enunciate, the way you hold your shoulders when you speak is totally different than a woman I met. So can you talk about the level of peace, joy, and abundance? Because y'all know that's my main focus. Can you talk about the level of peace, joy, and abundance that has entered into your life and your mindset and your business since you've learned how to be a real partner with your husband?
Is letting go of that I can do it all syndrome. Like even going back to what you said, submission. Because see, sometimes and I know for me in our marriage, I was seeing myself going this way, and he was seeing himself going this way. But we never sat down and had the conversation and saying, "Hey, like, where do you really see us going? How do you really feel about me?" One of the things when we first moved, we were living in Rocky Mount, and we was decided to move here to Raleigh. And my husband has said, hey, okay, we're going to make this move, but I need to know, what do you want? I found this house, and I think you will like this house. However, I want to know what do you want? Because to be honest, he was fronting all the money. Like, let me be honest, my husband paid all the bills. Like, he paid all the bills. Like, I don't have to worry about that because that was a vision for him.
Yeah.
See, I had to line up with that.
Yeah.
My husband always had a vision to take care of me and his children. That's his ultimate, like he tells me all the time, I just get a feel. That's my purpose. I'm supposed to provide. I'm a provider. And I knew this when we first got married. Yeah. I'm a provider. I have to provide. It's in my DNA to provide. If I don't provide, I feel like I don't have purpose. That's in me to do that. So when he said, Sharlrita, I just want to know what you want. That's my deepest desire. I want to make sure you're happy. I want to make sure that you're not just happy, but you are fulfilled. Yeah. I want to see you happy. I want to see you do better in your business, because he saw that I was depressed, sometimes not getting clients and not doing this. And he, like you said, he had the answer. Hey, you need to just step back.
Yeah.
Just step back for a minute.
Yeah.
And then let's go back and let's recalculate, and then we're gonna move forward. See, I was afraid of that in the beginning because I had the vision for this company. I wanted to go the way I wanted to. This is what I wanted to do. And he's like, okay, you might need to do this. You might need to do that. I don't know a lot about publishing, but what I do know is that based on where I am, this is what you need to be doing. So I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. No, you did. You did.
I really had to step back and submit.
Yeah.
I had to submit.
The level of peace that you have when you let go of unnecessary stress. That's what I'm really getting out of a lot of this. There's so much unnecessary stress on Black women all the time. So many self-inflicted wounds on Black women all the time. And one of the ways that I've really shifted in that is being able to lean on my husband from the jump. Because, and here's what's wild, I don't have to actually lean on him now because we have the conversations up front. I talk to him every day about what I got going on. He talk to me every day about what's happening. I talk to him all the time about what my experiences are, what my feelings are. I don't wait. I don't wait. I talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it today. I'm not going to hold on till next week and then schedule meetings for. I get that some people advise, schedule a meeting with your spouse and sit down and talk about. We don't schedule no meetings. We talk every day about everything. If somebody texts me, asks me if I'm available, and I tell them I'm taking a break, it's because I'm sitting down with Patrick. We talk about everything. Ain't no need for no best friend. Don't get me wrong. I got one I grew up with for 21 years. We still solid, tight as glue. But the ultimate best friend is my husband. The ultimate rider is my husband. And then ain't nobody dying. We just gonna ride. And what I had to learn was that as a woman, I deserve to feel taken care of.
Yes.
I deserve to not have the stress of what's gonna happen or what we gonna do or what. For what? Wow. That's not my job. Because here's what's going to mess y'all up. When I learned this, it changed everything about what I think about marriage. You might be chosen to be the face of the vision. You might be called to high levels and platforms. The Lord might want to put you on stages and this and that, and that's wonderful. But it's still his responsibility.
Yep.
The level of pressure to be responsible for something that you actually don't have control over. I don't want that problem. Because men who are married to chosen women like us, we might be at the forefront, we might be the one seen, but it's still his responsibility. And so every time I'm hard-headed, every time I don't let him in, every time I'm frustrated or I make assumptions and don't talk to him, I'm actually stopping him from doing his job.
Yep.
Before we go, can we talk about asking for help? Right quick. And I want to ask you in this way, because this was true for me. I don't know if it's true for you. Asking my husband for help has made it easier for me to ask other people.
Yeah.
I know it sounds hard, y'all. But it's really not.
It's not.
It's not. So on this side of it, what is your day-to-day look like?
I take pleasure in making sure that my family is taken care of first. And I do business. I do business in the morning time. I am up. I do get up early because I got to get the kids up, get the kids ready for school and all that stuff. But I make sure that part is done, and I take pleasure in making sure, the house is straight and all that stuff. I do business 4 or 5 hours a day. And then at nighttime, it's got to get the house together, got to get the kids together, that's my life right now, until they are, it's my boys. My girls are good. My boys, they still need some management. Y'all boy moms, you still got to manage them. You got
like bumpers on a bowling lane.
Yeah, you gotta make sure they washing all their parts and all that stuff. So that part. And sometimes, one of the things I love to do is making sure, and it's the little things, is making sure that when my husband get out the shower, he has a clean towel. Like, that's some of the stuff that I love to do, and it's some of the things that he has. He's like, you know what? I'm just grateful to have a clean towel. So he loves that, and I take that weight off of him. And like I say, yeah, he takes a lot of the weight financially, but I take the weight of allowing him to operate as the powerful man that he is in his space by alleviating some of the stress at home. So we're really a team. We're a team. Like, you take care of this part, I'm gonna make sure this part is taken care of. So pretty much that's what my day looks like, making sure the kids are together. I do business, in the morning, or sometimes, in the afternoons. I'm really enjoying the space of not having to hustle for money. I'm enjoying that. I have not always been there. I'm going to tell you, yes, my husband is the breadwinner, but I remember a time, Felicia, where I was like, where every cent that came into my business counted. Where he was in between jobs, and things were going on in the beginning of the marriage and things like that financially. But I'm enjoying that, and I had to shift my mind around that too, because I had to make a lot of, and still working on my mindset around money and allowing him to take that space, because that's not popular. It's not popular to allow your husband to be what he's designed to be and be in his happy place. Like he said, he loved being the Superman. I love being the Superman. I love rescuing my family. I love making sure that things are taken care of. So I'm really enjoying this space where we are, where I'm allowed to build a business that I love.
I love it. I love it so much. It's a lot of times we create difficulty where there is none. We create difficulty where there is none. And I believe in partnership. And when I say partnership, I'm not talking about 50-50 mortgage. I'm sorry. Y'all can have that. I'm not paying the mortgage. I'm sorry. No. I'm not going to do it. The mortgage ain't never came on my check. It ain't going to start. And don't get me wrong, we are full partners. If he's ever in a space where he needs something, I got it. When I'm in a space I need something, he got me. But full partnership looks like both of us committing to whatever needs to be done. To make sure this family is okay. We down to do it.
We down to do it.
So those people who struggle with partnership, who struggle with marriage, who struggle with leaning on your spouse, take that mindset. Patrick has something that he created called the partnership framework that we live by. First and foremost is communication. Then there's vision. Then there's support. Then there's execution. And you need it for both sides. We're going to be talking about that at RBW Live Chicago during the VIP, where you have to understand what a partner is and also what type of partner you are.
Yes.
And so, Sharlrita, I can't thank you enough for taking the time today. Can you tell the people how to stay connected with you, what you got going on, how to work with you if you're accepting clients right now?
I'm not accepting any clients right now, but I will say my company, BWE Publishing and Consulting, we're making some major shifts and how we're doing business with book publishing. I will say this month, or probably early June, I'm going to host a 3-day challenge for those of you that want to learn how to cultivate your community through book anthologies. That's where you have multiple authors in one book. So I'm going to have a challenge. So just stay tuned. I'm active here on Instagram as well as on Facebook, and we're connected there. That's why I have going on. So no, I'm not accepting any new clients right now. We're making some different shifts, but I'm still, leveling up when it comes to this publishing and being the authority and going back to loving what I'm doing again. Going back to loving what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love it. And then, of course, I ask I ask everybody, what does being a rich Black woman mean to you?
It means submitting to where you are now. submitting to where you are now. And I said it twice because I had to say that to myself every day. Submit to where you are now. Be present now. Because times are going to change, things are going to change, but it's being present where you are now and not being ashamed. It took a lot for me to say that my husband is the breadwinner. It took a lot for me to say that because being on the internet and things, you're always taught to be this strong Black woman and be this upfront. So it means being present. It means being submitted where you are right now.
That's heavy. It's so important for us to really take that in, because the thing about being a rich Black woman, it's about the moves you make daily. It's about how you think daily. So you're not just a rich Black woman when your business start popping. You're not waiting until, oh, well, I know Fee talk a lot about 6-figure months, and it's not until, no, there is no financial requirements. There is no outfit you gotta wear. There's no space you gotta be. There's no restaurant you gotta dine from consistently. There is no physical requirement to be a rich Black woman. It's about here and how you move. And so, like our rich sister said, if you are submitted to where you are now, that means you're going to cultivate your relationships best you can. You're going to invest where you can, make impact where you can, right? You're also going to pay attention to what's impacting you. You're going to cultivate your business. You're going to cultivate your family. You're going to cultivate what's important to you. You're going to maximize your time, money, and energy all the time. That's a part of the cultivation segment of the framework. And then you're also going to embrace the harvest that you have, because a lot of the rich Black women know how to make money, but it's a crime to spend some on yourself. So we ain't going to go there today, but we're going to go there. And I just want to be very clear about how to move as a rich Black woman. And that blessed me to hear someone who's watched this movie from the beginning say it means being submitted to where you are right now. I see the comments. I see y'all. Let me some questions in here. Y'all was really taking everything in. Success and submission. Let the story from tell the story from the successful, not the oppressed. Yeah, come on, key points. No financial requirements at all. It's not. So make sure you're following Sharlrita on all platforms. I'm gonna share some things with y'all just in a minute. But I just want to thank you, Sharlrita. Let you know how proud of you I am. It's just
proud of you.
Thank you, girl. You can't be out here not being great.
Right.
But yeah, I'm grateful and I'm honored. Don't go too far, because after I make these few announcements, I'm gonna hop back on behind the scenes so we can talk about a few things as well.
Okay.
So y'all,
thanks y'all.
Bye, girl.
Bye. Okay.
This was so heavy. It was so heavy. And it has just been a blessing to me to continue to see us elevate. And so I just wanted to make sure I said that before we took you off the screen, so that could be in the replay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna see you in a minute. I'm gonna give them a couple more things, and I'm behind the scenes.
Okay.
Oh, you know how to take her off of here. Good. There she go. Ooh, child, she had to do it for me, because can we? Yeah, y'all know we got a deep breath. Okay, we take deep breaths like time out. Just y'all. When I tell you that it is always about operating at your highest level, regardless of where you are, I cannot stress that enough. I remember when I first started saying Rich Black Woman, even I had this belief that it was about what we were doing and where we were going and what scenes we were on and the lifestyle and all of that. And then I had to really practice what I preach. I had to realize that lifestyle is about the life that you built and that you move and shake in every day. So what is lifestyle to you? What is lifestyle to me? Lifestyle is how I move day by day as a rich Black woman without compromise, without having my boundaries moved, without having to say yes to things I don't want to say yes to. See, it's a lot of y'all with plenty of money, but you're going to fall for some of the things that I fell for. You're the popular one at your church because you got the check. You're the popular one in your family because you got the checkbook. And mind you ain't checking in with your husband. You just letting him know what you're going to do. See, a lot of y'all think y'all talk to y'all husbands. because you tell him what you're going to do, but you don't talk to him. You don't converse with him. You don't get his thoughts, his ideas, or any of those things. You just go and you say, well, my baby going to support everything I do. So let me put us in yet another bind. Let me put us in yet another situation. I'm just talking about me. I know y'all would never do that. But until you begin to build your confidence, until you begin to trust God enough to believe in yourself, until you begin to let the guard down and speak to the people that's assigned to you to help you make sound decisions, you're going to keep this cycle. We talk about the cycle of P all the time: perfectionism, procrastination, and people pleasing. And you could get out of that cycle if you would start having the right conversations with the right people. You could get out of those cycles when you start getting in the right rooms instead of the popular ones. You can get out that cycle. And so for those of you who are wondering where we're going to be next, we're going to be in Chicago next June 25th. You can join the wait list at richblackchicago.com/save the date. And when tickets drop, they're going to drop to the wait list first, because the event is free to those on the wait list. You're going to have first opportunity for the Rich Black Woman Roundtable. As a matter of fact, let me go to my back end, since it's not live, and I'm going to let y'all know what it's going to look like. Because Black women are tired. We are so over the facades. We are so over the rules and the regulations of the online space. I realized that a lot of us left the corporate rat race just to get into the entrepreneurial one. A lot of us left the corporate rat race just to follow the same rules of the coach. You fussed about your supervisor. You fussed about your manager. And then went got a coach to tell you what to do. You didn't build no confidence on the way out. You ain't get with your spouse on the way out. You ain't sought the Lord about anything besides what you want. And this is why we can't move forward. See, a lot of y'all move on and don't move forward. This is why you can't build confidence. This is why you can't tell your story. This is why you can't escape the hustle of entrepreneurship. We get into all of these programs and all of these circles and all of these tables and all of these things. And then we don't realize, you know what? These are self-inflicted. Come on, A. Marie. Some of us treat ourselves worse than our bosses. Here's my thing. I believe that it is disrespectful to ask me to treat me better than you treat yourself. So you want to hold yourself to this standard, but you want to hold me to this one. And that don't make sense to me. It's your life. I will never ask someone to do something for me that I'm not willing to do for myself. So when you walk up to me and I expect respect, it's because I respect myself. When you walk up to me and I expect you to treat me well, it's because I treat myself well. When you walk up to me and I speak at a certain level, I'm not dumbing it down for nobody. My granddad told me when I was pregnant with Dorian, he told me and Patrick, and my granddad was an extremely silent man. He didn't give advice. But I realized that he had been advising us for years. And the little things he said, and I will never forget when I was getting ready to have Dorian, he said, don't talk no baby talk to that baby. Or don't talk no baby talk to them kids, make them a bunch of dummies. And I was like, Papa, why would you say that? And I realized that he said, if you talk to them, goo goo, gaga, making all those little sounds, that's how they're going to respond back. And so don't be surprised when they're not using English as quickly as you want them to. And I said, wow. And I thought about that a couple of weeks ago. And I realized that he was telling me not to dumb myself down. They'll catch up. Speak at the level that you speak. Move at the level that you move. Operate at the level that you operate in. The rest of them will catch up. And so I'm not dumbing myself down for nobody. And so for those of you who struggle with telling your story, it's because you probably used to dumbing yourself down. You watered down and watered down and watered down and watered down till you're confused as to who you are. You don't think what you got is that great because you watered down a lot of your potency. Some of your potency is in your rawness and in your experience and in what you've been through and in what you've been dealing with. But because you're so used to sugarcoating, because you're so used to talking baby talk, that when you get in the room full of grown women, you offended. This is why some of y'all can't take correction. This is why y'all be mad at y'all mamas for telling you about what it's like to be 50 and you 30. And you think you know as much as she know, and she got 20 years older on you. Make it make sense. Yeah, come on, dull, just dull and dense. And it's because we choose to. But a lot of us don't like to be required to step up. This is why it's easy for you to get, oh, well, I'm making 10K a month. And, I was making 5K a month in corporate, baby. This is a company, not your salary. Very different ball game. I told Sharlrita behind the scenes earlier, I was so excited when I looked at some stuff on my taxes today. I was like, "Ooh, I thought I didn't have it, and I got it." Me excited about taxes. A person who has done terribly with taxes over the years. See, because what they don't like to tell you is that those of us who are really, really good in personal finance are terrible in business finances. That's why we pay too much. That's why the year I made $1 million, I had a $300,000 payroll. 30% of your revenue, cash, don't make sense. And so now we get honest with ourselves. Now we determine what rooms do we need to be in. So here's what I want to share with you. At RBW Live Chicago, this ain't Atlanta. This ain't no test run. This is what's up. So we understand, right? I get it. The immense pressure and expectations that come with building and growing your business. I get that. But now it's about embracing the power of rest and removing the consistent pressure to accomplish more. This idea that we have to accomplish. That's why we're great starters and terrible finishers. But the Bible says that your latter days shall be greater than your former days. And so if you stick with it, it's going to get better. But the problem is when we had a 96, we got asked why it wasn't 100. Those of us who are overachievers. Thank God for the parents that saw the error of their ways and said, "Hey, I apologize. We shouldn't have done that. That's just the best we knew." But for those of you who always feel that pressure of accomplishment and more and the next thing and the next thing, this is why you can't rest. My belief system says that true success encompasses more than just professional achievements. It's about finding harmony in your routine. It's about accessing joy in your relationships. See, because a lot of y'all have great relationships. You got great foundational marriages and friendships, but you always searching because what you got ain't never good enough. Because you don't know how to access the joy in what you have. That's why I tell you, you rich already. But you trying to go find riches and go find wealth the way the internet told you to, and that's why you floundering. Once you access the joy in your current relationships, once you harmonize your current routine, once you embrace abundance in all areas of your life, you're going to feel different. You'll be like, "Dang, I am a rich Black woman. Dang, I am. You know what? They is tripping. Maybe my husband is right. Maybe I don't need another 20K program. Maybe the reason that the last 5 have not worked is me." And maybe y'all can get honest with y'all therapists. Because y'all go straight to therapy and do the same sugarcoating you did in marriage, do the same sugarcoat you did online, and a facade has become your normal. So don't tell me when you go to therapy once a month for those 45 minutes you telling the truth when you've been lying the other 29 days and 23 hours and 15 minutes. Miss me. And so that's what we're going to do in Chicago. I'm going to give y'all a little more info because the main day, okay, that's for everybody, right? For Sunday, that's cool. But we get there probably Thursday because Friday is all about leveraging your income for massive success and expanding your marketable skills. What does that mean? We're going to dive into our money systems, starting here, starting in the mind. Where your money system foundation at. This is why you have abundance issues. Your money problem, your time problem, and your energy problem will be the same problem, but they're going to show up in different ways. So now we need a strategy. That's why I come in. And then we're going to have a Lux experience. We're going to have a private dinner. We're going to do all that. Day 2, we're going to focus on activating unlimited abundance. Let's talk about time, money, and energy and how we're going to master it because it looks different for everybody. And then we're going to dive into the rich method for living. This is the Lear system. I have not taught the Lear system publicly until this past weekend. And when I tell you the level of unlocking for Black women that it did, the level of shifting for Black women, the level of saying, "Hey, okay, cool. You mean I do have it? I do got it? Yeah, you got it already. Here it is. I told you, you rich already. So we're going to find those riches. We're going to put them in the right place so that when you leave, you can tell your story from the place of the journey and not the place of its origin. So you can stop making everybody feel like they got to cry. You can tell your story from a position of triumph. You can say, "Okay, this is where my boundaries lie. This is how I run my business." It's not a coincidence that I work my business most days from 10 to 2. That's why my events are typically 10 to 2 or 11 to 3 because that's the time I work. I don't do full-time employment, not even for myself. There's a time for that. There's a place for that. There are seasons where we zone in and we grind a little bit, but that is not my lifestyle. And then Once we do that, we're going to have the first Rich Black Woman Roundtable. Let me help y'all understand something. I've tried to do this before, and it failed and failed and failed. And I said, God, I feel so led to do this. If I'm not led to do this, why do I feel so led? And I realized that I was led to do it. The problem was I had the wrong people on the flyer. There's some of you that cannot move forward because God knows that if you move forward right now, the space, your mindset, your relationships, your activity is going to destroy you. You worried about destroying a business. You better make sure you ain't destroying yourself. And so Saturday night, we're going to host the Rich Black Woman Roundtable. The last one was amazing. We are not going from 6 to midnight for those of you who are in Atlanta. We're going from 6 to 9. All right. So be sure to join the wait list. Go to richblackchicago.com. I got so used to saying Rich Black Atlanta. richblackchicago.com/wait list. Those of you who are in relationships that are doing you harm, please seek the Lord about your exit. Those of you who are in businesses that you've been called to move along from, please seek God regarding your pivot. Be sure. Be sure. So, richblackchicago.com/save the date. And we'll see y'all soon. If y'all have any questions, let me take a couple questions. Anybody got questions? I ain't taking no questions in a minute. What else do I need to share? We're going to be live. I'm going to be live. Starting Monday, I'm going to be live daily. It might only be 15, 20 minutes, but I'm going to be live daily, sharing some Rich Black Woman tips and some things about money, marriage, motherhood, and business. Because we need all of them. We need all of them. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Be sure you subscribe if you want to access the replays. Subscription is only $9 and I think 99 cents a month. And we're going to be unarchiving a lot of our lessons and sessions and sharing them to subscribers only. So we will see y'all soon. Bye now.